So apparently I'm going to have to dip into the emergency fund, even though I don't think there's really an emergency. So let me give you a little bit of backstory here. So I watched a video a while back that really aggravated me a lot. And I would like to discuss the video and tell you what my aggravation is, but first of all, it would just make me feel like I was just being childish. And secondly, I know for a fact that the guy, the YouTuber, would just come back with the 15 minutes of name calling, because that's the only way he knows how to defend himself is through name calling. But I guess I just will stay away from that. As you know, Carolyn and I consider ourselves conservatives. And when I say that, I don't mean a political party. I don't mean Republican. I mean conservative. We are conservative in everything we do. We're conservative on our friendships, our relationships. We're conservative on where we put our hearts. We're conservative with where we spend our money. And I could go on, and I don't want to burden you with all that, but let's just focus on that one. We conserve the amount of money we spend. Now, whether you agree with that philosophy or not, what do you think? Well, I'm just going to spend all my money because I can't take it with me. I understand what you're saying. It's just the way I believe. I remember when my mom and dad had a bakery. I used to get to work there. This was back in the 70s. They would pay me, and I never spent my money, ever. I had this old-timey cash register in my bedroom. Huge, heavy, I couldn't lift it up. And I would just keep the money in there. I remember when I made $100. Finally had saved up $100. So I've always been that way. Now I've been in some marriages where I spent money, but now that I'm with Carolyn, she makes it easy to save money, and I like saving money. So when she said she wanted to buy property, I was deeply concerned, because as you know, we were traveling. Well, here's the camper. We're tearing it apart. I cleaned up a little bit more just the other day. We had a freeze, so I'm going to be able to dig into this pretty heavily pretty soon, as soon as I can get my schedule to clear up a little bit. Yesterday I was going to work on it, but ended up having to work on the lawnmower, and I got 2 stacks of firewood that fell over, so I need to pick those up too. So now the freeze is here, I can start digging in a little bit, so I'm not so concerned about snakes. There's Skitty. She always comes down and follows me when she's outside and awake to make sure I'm not getting in any trouble. She's been a real pleasure to have. So we bought this place for $4,200 cash. And that's a reasonable amount of price. It was 1.5 acres and had a well on it. Now, if you think about this, the well has been a pain. Anybody who's been with my channel for any length of time knows that I really had to work with it for a couple of years. It kept getting dirty, and I had to build a building around it and put a well pump in it. So I spent $500 on a well. Now, the thing is, if I had to dig a well, a minimum of $5,000 is what it would have cost to dig a well. Let's say I bought a piece of property for $4,200 and I dug a well. So now we're up to $9,200 minimum. But we found a place with a well. And the thing is people say, well, I can't find anything like that. Well, I hate to say this, you're not looking. Before we bought this place, there was 10 acres for $7,200. Now, it would seem reasonable that we should have bought that place. But in all honesty, I felt like it was going to cost us a little bit too much too quickly. We would have had to build a drive, cut down a bunch of trees, and it was far away, so we felt like we were going to end up spending too much money just so we could get on the property quickly. We could have saved money if we'd have figured out a way to stay in the camper somehow, maybe on the road in a park or something, and then go over there. It was just, we just didn't like it. How about that? But it had a well on it too. So 10 acres, $7,200 with a well and a stream. But you can find these things. So we bought this. It's 1.5 acres, and we love it. So then we had to build a tiny house, and we had to build that during the pandemic. So lumber prices were through the roof. But Carolyn got on Facebook Marketplace and found a lot of materials there that people were trying to sell. The windows, the OSB, and she got really good deals on it. So we ended up spending just over $5,000 with that. Now think about that. A house and a property brand new house for $9,200 roughly. Now, I know a lot of people say, that ain't a house, that's a shed. Well, we're conservatives. I don't need a big house. What are we gonna do with it? That's the point of being a conservative. You only get what you need. You don't have to be extravagant on everything, flamboyant. What are you gonna do with it? Are you gonna just show it off? We don't have kids, so we don't need an extra room. It's exactly what we needed, and we love it. Anybody who criticizes, well, it's just a shed, doesn't understand the point. You're the type of person, again, I'm not criticizing you, but you're the type of person that says, I can't take it with me. So if something happens, I want to be able to take care of ourselves without having to go and borrow money or ask for help, like the truck breaks down or the house burns down. I've talked about house, we insure our own house. We self-insure. If it burns down, I'll just go out and buy a shed from Home Depot. I'm not going to build again. So then the next thing I guess we can talk about, I don't know if it's the next thing on the list, is the solar panels. And the thing is when we bought the solar panels, we didn't buy everything that we have now. We kind of pieced this together over time. So we didn't have to just go out and get a loan and get interest payments. We just had the money and we didn't dip into our savings too terribly bad. I think I bought 6, maybe, I think it was 6. I don't know. Then we had 10 for the longest time. Not sure when we bought the rest. And then just this past summer, we bought 2 more. So we got 12. And they're $80 a piece. Now, when you think about $80 is not a lot. So it's really easy to save up $80. You can get $80 a month. I mean, people go out to eat for $80 a month. So over 12 months, you could have 12 solar panels pretty easy, I would imagine. But then we, of course, got to get batteries. And of course, everybody's got to have battle-born lithium-ion batteries. That's the only way to go. No, that's not the only way to go. You can get lead-acid batteries. And when you're on a budget and you're trying to conserve money, and I don't want to spend $800. Now, I know some people, well, you buy $200, you can do this and that. I also know that lithium-ion is not doing as well as everybody thought they would. Oh, they're going to last 10 years. Well, that was a prediction. That was not a fact. No one's ever tested a battle-born battery for 10 years. But lead-acid battery has been tested for generations. And those are $100 a piece. And I've done the math. I'm not going to sit here and explain the math again, but I've done the math. And I will save more money using these than buying battle-born batteries every 10 years. Smarter investment. Well, you're just going to like them better. I'm a conservative. I don't need to like things better. I just need things to work. And guess what? It works. Those batteries have been here as long as we have now. So they're coming up on 4 years. The oldest one is. And I don't even follow all the rules. You're supposed to replace all the batteries when you get a new one. Well, I don't. I just add in a new battery when I want one. And it works. I don't buy the fanciest generators. I got 2 generators. I got the little one here, the little Power Smart. It was, I don't know, $250, $299, something like that. And it just runs the battery chargers. I don't need a big fancy one. And then yesterday, and I'll put an up next box at the end of this video to that video, I showed you the Champion generator that I got. Now, it's not the fanciest on the market, but the last one I had, this is a newer one, the last one I had lasted 8,000 hours. No, you got to get a Honda. Well, Honda is double the price, and I don't see that it outperforms the Champion. But everybody thinks you got to have a Honda. You go in the comment section of any generator video, and they talk about Honda. You got to have a Honda. The nice thing about this one is we got it on sale. Over the summer, you could buy them on sale. I think it was $400. So that is going to last 8,000 hours, and I hardly ever use it anymore. Just in emergencies. And we've developed our systems over time, so we have to rely less and less on things that are expensive. Now, the solar panels will last 20 years. That puts me up into my 70s. Now, that doesn't mean they just die overnight. They'll start to degrade. If they degrade to a point that I can't really get enough power out of them, I'll just add to them. I'm not going to invest a whole new set and end up dying before they go bad. I'll just buy a couple new ones, whatever it is, to make up for the loss of energy. Let's say it's 2 or 3, so, you know, $160, something like that. Now, another thing I feel like conserve a lot on is buying groceries. When we go grocery shopping, we don't take a list. What? You don't take a list? How do you conserve? Well, everybody is taught to take a list. So you write down Kellogg's cereal, you write down noodles, you write down spaghetti sauce, and then you go around and you end up picking out the most expensive things in the store, like Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. They're great. Well, Carolyn and I are on this meat diet. Oh, you can't save money being on a meat diet. That's too expensive. It's a lot cheaper than buying Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. You go to the sale item. Oh, don't go to sale items. Don't go to those sale stores. They're bad quality meats. Well, no, they're not. They're the same exact meat that they're putting in the expensive stores, except they're paying the unions to shelve those. Save a lot, people. Hire old people like me to go in there and work part-time. Don't even have to buy benefits. You can find meat on sale all the time. You eat less when you're on meat diet. I don't know what it is, but you can eat 3 ounces of meat and be fuller for longer than if you ate 3 ounces of cereal. Cereal, you're gonna be hungry in 10 minutes. You're buying more expensive stuff, the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, and you're eating more of it. Because it's sugar, first of all. Sugar burns off. I mean, why do you go to a Chinese restaurant and then 10 minutes later, you're hungry again? It's all sugar, carbohydrates. They burn off sugar. So as the prices of food are going up throughout the country, and everybody's talking about inflation and can't afford food anymore, our price that we pay at the grocery store has not went up very much. Now, we've been recently canning some food, so we buy extra now. And I would say we're probably spending maybe 50 bucks more a month than we used to, but again, we're canning food. The other thing we're doing is we're feeding the cat chicken because we can our food. So we have to add that cost in somehow or another. So that is going into our food budget. We're saving a huge amount of money on food. But the only thing I hear people talk about is how to spend money. If I come up with a project, and it happens all the time. Like for example, when we were cleaning this place up, and we bought a little push mower. Oh, you can't use a push mower to clean this place up. I mean, the weeds were as bad as this. Well, maybe that's a little bit of exaggeration, but they were bad. And we ended up push mowing the whole thing. Well, first thing we did was we took a sickle bar blade thing, knocked down the bigger stuff, and then we took the push mower and cut it all down. No, you're gonna have to get a lawnmower. There was one video, I forget how much it was, but I'm gonna say, I don't know, $10,000. In one video, the comment section filled up telling me to spend $10,000 to clean this place up. Everybody wants to spend money. Everybody wants to spend your money. Everybody wants to spend my money. I don't want to spend money because I'm a conservative. When we talk about solar panels will not pay for themselves, ever. If you do it like everybody else does. If you go and have somebody install them, I mean, you got all these packages all over the country, put them on your roof, and for, I don't know, $17,000, you have a solar panel system. First of all, probably won't replace your electric bill. It'll reduce it, but it won't replace it. So you spend all that money, and it's gonna take, I don't know, 30 years, 20 years, 30 years, 25 years to pay for it. In which time you'll have to replace the solar panels because they only last 20 years, or you'll have to add on more like we're gonna do. So they'll just never pay for themselves. Not in your lifetime, not in my lifetime. It just wouldn't be worth it. So what you have to do is conserve. It's a philosophy that is even lost on people who call themselves conservatives. You have to conserve. Reduce the amount of electric you're using. When you start reducing the amount of electric you're using, and then you get onto solar panels, now you're saving money. Now you're conserving money. Now you're reducing your electric bill because you don't have one. We don't need the dishwasher. We don't need the electric water heater. I know we have a propane one, but it uses very little. And if we needed to, we could use firewood. You don't need the furnace. You can use firewood like we do for our heat. And we don't even use a lot of firewood because I don't want to work that hard. That's why we have a tiny house. Saves on my back. I don't have to split so much firewood. If you're spending more money than what it takes to pay for itself, then you're not getting ahead. And then you go into debt, and then everybody complains about the inflation. I'm going to be honest with you. The inflation has not harmed me and Carolyn at all. It hasn't affected us at all. As gas prices went up, we reduced the amount of time we had to run the generator. We got a cheaper generator, one that would use less gas, even more so than the Champion. We stopped driving so much. We used to drive into town probably 2 or 3 times a week, but now we consolidate all our trips into about 1 trip a month. We changed the oil in the winter time, so probably about January time frame. It's coming up on January now, and we've only used 20%. You know how it calculates on these new cars? So we're down to 80%. So the inflation hasn't hit us because we're conserving. We're as comfortable as we were before the inflation hit. So if you'll click this up next box, take that video where I was talking about the Champion generator. So hope I can inspire you to become a conservative so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.